those who are planning to travel to Canada or from Canada to India are now worried. They're stranded, wondering what really this ban means. India suspending visa services in Canada. How is it really going to impact the larger Indian population on both sides? I'm going to cut across to this very detailed report here, as diplomatic ties between the two nations has really gone downhill, really hit a rock bottom low. India suspends visa services in Canada, with Indians living in Canada now left anxious. People are scared that bitter diplomatic ties between the two nations can really delay their study visas. Visas, including e-visas, are suspended, citing operational reasons. That's the reason that the visa agents in Canada have given, saying this is suspended due to operational reasons. But we heard the Ministry of External Affairs making it quite clear that this is a response to what Canada did, accusing India of the murder of Khalistani leader Nijjar without concrete evidence. Amid the tensions, now Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has levelled allegations against India, worsening the ties between the two countries. Now, what Justin Trudeau has said is that he has conveyed the message of this investigation on Nijjar's killing to India weeks ago, about them finding or having credible reports that links the murderer to India. Let's have a look.
ఇది వెరీ టూ మచ్ సార్. ఇది అంటే యాక్చువల్ ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు కెనడాలో ఉన్నది వారు పర్సనల్, మనకు ఖాళిస్తాన్ అనేది మన దగ్గర అగెన్స్ట్ గా చేస్తుంది కాబట్టి అక్కడ ఎవరో చెప్పిన తర్వాత మన ఇండియా మీద వాళ్ళు అలిగేషన్ చేయడం రాంగ్ సార్. ఇది ఏంటంటే టోటల్లీ మన ఇండియా ఒక కంట్రీ టు ఒక పర్సన్ గురించి రెండు కంట్రీల విధంగా చేయడం వల్ల ఎంతో మంది లాస్ అవుతారు. సో వాళ్ళు కామెంట్ చేయడం రాంగ్ అని నా ఒపీనియన్ సార్.
ఆఫ్టర్ సీయింగ్ ద రీసెంట్ politics which are happening, right? I mean, like I'm taking a step backward, but doesn't mean that I'm stopping over there. I'm getting some inputs from the Canada University officials as well that it's not a concern, we can still go with it. So at least it's not a step back. I'm holding off over there, just giving other opportunities as well.
कितने लोग ऐसे होंगे आपकी जान पहचान में वहाँ पे जो परमानेंट रेसिडेंट्स नहीं हैं और जिनको वीज़ा के इश्यूज में वो फंस सकते हैं?
There will be students honge. There will be people who are working, whose work experience might be coming to an end. The work visa might be coming to an end, and as a result, they'll have to get it renewed. I'm sure they will have a lot of difficulties.
All right, India, the first channel, India Today, in fact, the only channel in Canada's Toronto. Anisha Mathur is right there on ground zero, bringing us every development up close. Anisha, thank you for joining us. I know it's way too early, but you managed to get on live with us. We know that Indians are a worried lot in Canada currently. I've spoken myself to a couple of them. They say it's really not as bad as one may think. Situation is fine because it hasn't really hit us as yet. But yes, if we want to travel is when the actual pain would arise, because now people traveling on both ends are really worried on if they can travel with their valid visas. Is it going to be affecting their visa application if they've applied for one? So this kind of confusion has left the Indian population on both ends in a frenzy.
Well, good morning, Nabila. It's 9:30 a.m. here in Toronto, and I've been speaking to lawyers, I've been speaking to Indian diaspora here since I landed here late last night. The question that we're asking right now, what we're discussing right now, you and I, is exactly what a lot of people here are also asking. There is a huge amount of apprehension really as far as the Indian diaspora in Canada is concerned. The people who've taken Canadian citizenship or PR, they are the ones who are really worried, because the e-visa system that the persons of Indian origin who are on Canadian visa, they have to apply for an e-visa to travel to India. They currently are not getting that service. However, and to clarify, and this is something I've clarified with a couple of lawyers here, people who have an Indian passport, or students or people who are here on a work permit but with an Indian passport, they at the moment do not have a reason to worry with regard to any action that has currently been taken. However, because the ties seem to be worsening by the day, because there seem to be statements coming from Canadian as well as Indian politicians and diplomats about the situation practically every couple of days, the Indians in Canada are a worried lot that if they go back to India, will they be able to come back to Canada? Or if they are in Canada, will they be able to go back to India without any further steps being taken? But at the moment, at least, it is just the people who are on Canadian visas who need e-visas, they are affected. Additionally, there's a lot of politics that is going on in Canada itself. The opposition leader has questioned Justin Trudeau. Even the premier of the British Columbia, where Hardeep Singh Nijjar lived and was killed, has questioned Justin Trudeau with regard to the actual evidence that is available with regard to India's alleged involvement. At the same time, even Liberal Party, Trudeau's own Liberal Party MPs have raised questions about the burgeoning Hindu phobia. We saw a statement coming out from MP Chandra Arya just a couple of days ago, where he's raised questions about the Hindu phobia that is being nurtured, whether this is something
so has it
that
really
should
hit the
be done.
streets? Anisha, a quick question, if I could ask you. If I could ask you a quick question, and if may I see the background where you're at, Anisha? I'm not too sure if you're standing at the terrace or rooftop of your hotel, but if you could probably just pan it for our viewers, just to see the lovely Toronto. That's where you are.
Nabila, I'm currently in downtown Toronto in what is called Liberty Village. It is about 3 kilometers from CN Tower. You can't see it because of the building right in front of me that's blocking the view of the CN Tower. But here, if you can see anything against the sunlight, is the water of Lake Ontario on right behind me. Again, it's a little far away. The CN Tower and Rogers Centre are that you currently see, and the large buildings that you see in the background are downtown Toronto. Of course, I'm not exactly in the heart of the city per se. I'm slightly further out from the heart of downtown Toronto, but I will be visiting Brampton, which is an Indian majority area where a lot of the Sikh and Indian population of the Greater Toronto area lives. I will also be visiting Mississauga today to speak to the people there. In Brampton and Mississauga is where a majority of the Indian origin population in the Greater Toronto area lives, and we will be trying to get voices from the ground there. In downtown Toronto, which is the city proper, there isn't much happening per se, but of course it is also a factor of this being Saturday early morning.
Right,
but we will be bringing you the updates from the ground, the people have to say.
Anisha, thank you very much for joining us, and please stay safe. We know that in days to come there are protests that are going to be organized as well. The Khalistani members are going to be congregating along the areas of the Indian High Commission. So these are reports that we hasn't been confirmed as yet, but Anisha will be in Toronto in Canada, bringing us every update days going forward. And Anisha, thank you very much. I'm going to cut across to our guests joining us. Maheshwar Peri, founder and chairman of Careers 360, who's an education counselor. We also have Hunar Kalon, who is vice chair of Kailden South Asian Association, also joining us. Deepshika, studying in Canada, a student, to give us her perspective. Deepshika, if I may start with you, I know Indian students in Canada right now are worried, anxious lot. Would you be able to tell us what possibly is going through your mind after hearing that India has suspended visa services? I'm assuming that you have a valid Canadian visa, but yet, what really is the anxiety as of now?
Honestly speaking, there is not much, because as a student, Canada government and professors and everyone take good care of the students. The one thing that I'm worried about, like my friends are in India who is on their break and they went to India for vacation, and I was also planning to go back to India to have a visit with my family. But yeah, because of this pause in Canadian visa and immigration and everything, that's the little bit issue, but not much is happening in my city. I'm living in London, Ontario, so nothing much is happening, and we are not actually affected at all.
So there's nothing that's changed yet for you.
No.
And that's precisely our worry here, that it may not have immediate repercussions, but what the future of the Indian students is what's concerning. In the days to come, going forward, when your visa lapses or you've got to renew your visa, those are the times that you might be facing trouble. But stay with us, Deepshika. I'm going to cut across to Hunar. Thanks very much, Hunar, for sparing time for us. But I understand that students aren't really as worried as we may assume. But families here in India are very anxious. They're not too sure if their loved ones can come here or if they can go meet. Many of them had already made their travel plans to meet their children or their loved ones by the end of the year. Their tickets were booked, whatnot. So it's really left people in utter shock, this suspension. Would you be able to give us a word of advice?
Thank you for having me. And as you rightly said, there's uncertainty in the air, and we're not sure whether or not Canadians who are of Indian origin, they'll be able to visit India as the holiday season's approaching fast. And the only concern they have right now is they're not sure whether their visas are valid and whether or not they'll be able to go there. So the COVID memories are coming back.
Yeah. You know, so is there an advisory given, Hunar, to Indians, apart from what the Indian government has sent out, asking people to be wary of hate crimes against Indians and Hindus? Apart from that, any kind of travel advisory that's come to people or for students from universities? Just give us an understanding.
So travel advisory has been issued from the both governments as not to travel if possible to the countries. But again, from the ground level, we do not see any such thing. There is very much of a communal harmony we see here. We don't see that there is any tensions between any groups. And but the situation right now, it's as you rightly said, it's getting worse day by day. And I hope that the government on both sides in the coming days fix it so that the general population do not suffer because of the diplomatic relations.
So you're saying what the diplomatic strain between the two countries hasn't really reflected on ground. People there living in harmony, and that's really good to hear. Ishwar, give us your sense on this unfolding situation. There's so much uncertainty about travel. Students who have already applied for their visa, waiting for their visas to come through, they've received a huge setback. For them, this is almost a year lost if it doesn't come through.
Not really, Nabila, because see, it's in a sense for the Canadian colleges, it's business, right?
Yeah.
You have 3 lakh Indian students going there. You have $22 billion at stake as far as the economy of Canada per year is concerned. They cannot afford to not solve this problem. So there would be pressure from the colleges and universities within Canada to solve this problem at the earliest. Because in this thing, and I'm not getting into politics of the whole thing, Canada loses a lot if the Indian students don't go. And in fact, I would turn this around and say possibly the Indian students gain a lot because, see, of the 3 lakh, about 2 lakh students go for diploma colleges,
Correct.
right? And these are essentially colleges which are, at times, some of them for sure are degree mills. They don't give education. They just take an Indian student for the money that is on table. So people like Deepshika are lucky because they go on to universities. But when you get down to the other colleges which are coming down the ladder, they're essentially missold, misled in India, and the students go abroad. So for me, the Canadian colleges and universities will put a lot more pressure to solve this problem because there is a lot at stake for them, like housing, tenants, rental income. All those things are a problem for them. So they will be putting pressure on the governments.
Just a quick word. We understand that for students, this is a worrisome situation. But what for people who are working there? Even many of those, the population there is huge, about 1.5 lakh, I believe 2 lakh Indians who are residents now in Canada. Is there an issue with that in terms of visa renewal or any kind of changes in their visa if they want to do? Then how does that work?
That might be an issue, but again, as I said, when they solve the problem, they solve the problem for everyone and not just for one category of people, right? So I think the Canadian colleges and universities will work hard to solve this problem earlier than later. As far as the Indian students are concerned, they don't need to worry because they might have a 2-3 month online classes while this problem is sorted out, and then they'll go there. They don't have anything to worry in terms of losing an year because that's not least likely to happen.
Okay, a quick word, Hunar. Has this really hit work culture, or have Indians by and large, you say that you haven't felt the effects as yet, but I'd like to say in the last week, things have unraveled so fast. It could, in the days to come, have a bearing on harmony as well. But in a larger sense, has any of those gatherings of Khalistanis or Khalistani members coming together at certain areas, has it hindered movement of people in Canada at all, or areas where these protests are held?
Well, I live right next to Brampton, so which is the largest South Asian population, especially in population in Canada. And as of right now, there is no such thing. And to the point, we all are leading a very normal daily life. We are meeting people. We are going to each other's events. And matter of factly, I'm going to a Mata Ka Jagran this evening. So what we see in certain areas, it's not entirely true. On the ground level here, we don't see any such thing. It's all peaceful. And as I said before, it's more of a government-to-government issue rather than people-to-people issue. So
it's more a diplomatic issue, which really hasn't hit home yet.
And it should be solved diplomatically as well. We shouldn't be punishing people on the ground because 1.4 million Indians live in Canada, and let's say if we give them trouble in any sort in terms of issuing visas going back to their home country, then we are literally punishing 1.4 million people, not just a small fraction.
True.
And in that case, so we need to, the governments need to be mindful. These issues should be resolved between the governments rather than punishing the people at the ground.
Yeah, that's your appeal, and that's heard loud and clear. Thank you very much, both of you. A quick word from Deepshika, who's a student there with who joins us. Deepshika, what would be your appeal and your word of advice to all those students worried at the moment? I can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so my only word to the future student is that do not worry, because government and everyone here really take good care of students, especially international students, because most of the university and colleges, there are all international students. So they are dependent on us and they take good care of us. So we should not be worried much, and things will be better soon, I know.
Okay, that's reassuring. I think it's really sent a sense of relief to hear from the three of you, Maheshwar, Hunar, and Deepshika. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and really, trying to quell all the tensions that one may have of uncertainties that may loom in Canada. It seems like the peace and harmony prevails in that country for sure. So Indian families who are worried for their beloveds there shouldn't be anymore. Thank you very much for watching.